Okay. Okay, we are recording. Sigala, how are you today?
What's going on? Yeah, I'm very good, thank you.
Good,
Really good.
good. Where you at? Is this a home studio? Is this a studio? Where are you?
Yeah, this is my main studio in Talyard in King's Cross in London.
Nice. Looks
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I've been here for many years now. I've been, it's been a while.
Could you access that over the last sort of couple of years of madness?
Not really, no. So I ended up just building a makeshift studio at home, which was actually fine, to be honest. Like, probably sounded as good as this room. It's got like, it had a spare bed in it and got some like soundproofing off Amazon and stuck it all up, and yeah, it actually worked quite well. But it was obviously frustrating paying for a studio rent that I wasn't using for 2 years.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually being able to make music, it was fine working from home. I mean, I started working from home originally. Like, I do a lot of stuff on headphones anyway, and yeah, it really wasn't too much of an issue for me. It was actually quite nice, like having a whole lot of free time to make music, and like, I love the touring side, but a lot of the time it eats up such a massive portion of my time. Sometimes the music making, like, I don't have as much time to do that, so it was actually quite nice to focus on that.
Did you feel a desire? I mean, aside from touring, is there always a desire to create? And did you find that sort of having that time where you couldn't go and DJ out, or you couldn't go to the studio? Obviously, you touched upon the fact that you went a bit DIY and built your own home studio, but did you feel pressured, put pressure on yourself to utilize that time to create, or was it something that just sort of happens? Because I know when most people went, I'm loading this question here, when we went into lockdown, there was, I think, so many people had knee-jerk reactions to things. I think as soon as we started to realize that, oh, hang on, this isn't going to be back to normal in a couple of weeks, this could be, we could be in this long haul. I think anybody in the creative industries had that knee-jerk kind of like, oh shit, right, I need to build a studio, or I need to start doing live shows over Zoom, or creating mixtapes, or whatever. Did you feel a desire to have to do it, or did you kind of readjust and reset and then think, right, okay, I'm in a headspace where I want to sort of get creative again?
Yeah, kind of kind of the opposite, really. Like, when lockdown first happened, um I've literally been flat out for many years now, and I don't feel like I've had breaks every now and then, but it's never really a break, because there's always so much going on that, like, I'm not complaining. I love doing what I'm doing. I'm so lucky to be in the position that I'm in. But at the same time, it is very intense, and there's never really a good time to take a break. So when the pandemic struck, I was like, this is my chance, really, to switch off for a while and hit the reset button, and not have to worry about anything really for a while. So the first few weeks, I just kind of took a mental break from music, which was really refreshing, and that lasted a few weeks, and then I started to get bored, and I was like, but like, that's kind of my approach to music. Like, I like making music when I feel inspired, rather than trying to force something out and having a bad time. Like, I really need to be in the mood, and then that's when it's really natural, and something good usually comes out of it. So I was just like, I'm going to chill for a few weeks, and then yeah, I got back into it really organically, and that was when I built the studio. So I had a place to work, and yeah, it felt really, really fun, and I was doing it for myself. I didn't really have any deadlines. I didn't have things I necessarily had to be doing, which I usually do. There's usually a single that needs finishing, or I'm working on an album, or there's some work that there's a deadline to. So this was like making music with no deadline, no rules. I made some just complete random stuff, some really weird music, and some really cool stuff actually came out of it. And there's a few things I'm going to be doing later this year that have come from, I think, probably having that freedom, and coming up with some new ideas. So yeah, it was really healthy for me, I think.
Great stuff. Well, let's start your playlist, and I'm going to ask you for track one to tell me the song that you regard as having the greatest ever intro, please.
Okay, so I've gone for "The Circle of Life" by Elton John, the original Lion King theme tune.
I didn't see that one coming.
I know. I was doing this list with my girlfriend last night, and we were going through a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, there's like some chic records that like have really nice, like intricate string intros and all this stuff. And there was like, I'm a big Queen fan as well. There's loads of Queen tracks, and then yeah, Circle of Life came up on Spotify as a recommended next track for something, and I was like, oh my god, this is the one. Like, you hear that intro, the voice at the start of that song, and instantly it just fills you with like joy and emotion, and that's what you want from an intro. Excuse me. And I feel like that does it so well. Like, you can play that song and within 20 seconds the whole room has a smile on their face. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's such a powerful thing. So that's why I went for the Circle of Life.
Love it. Love it.
This whole list is very random. It's not really like on brand for me. I mean, Lion King's probably on brand actually. But yeah, I just went with stuff that like that is kind of stuff that I'm really into, and kind of niche.
That's what this is about, mate.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is about. In regards to intro, for somebody that's had, you know, lots of chart success, I want to know how you approach songwriting, essentially the intro, and how much attention you pay to how audiences may consume music now, how rapid them thumbs may be on their listening device. You know, the pressure to get on Spotify playlists, the pressure to get played on radio. I just wonder, all of these kind of trends that exist in sort of getting your music out there to as many people as possible, how much of that interferes with the creative process of creating a record?
For me, like, I love pop music. Like, I'm making pop music because I love it. I've always been into pop music over anything else. So I I welcome whatever is pop at the time. At the moment, yeah, songs are getting shorter. Like, you know, some big songs from the last couple of years, some of them have been like a minute 30. The kind of TikTok generation has influenced you know, music and attention spans probably. There's a real trend at the moment of having your chorus on the intro, so that within, you know, the first 5 seconds you've given away basically the climax of the song, and you've sort of painted a picture of the song within the first few seconds, which is, I think, it's probably a very like radio approach, and I'm here for it, man. I just tend to go with the flow, and that's something I've kind of done anyway, since the beginning. So yeah, I welcome it, man. But yeah, intros are tough. Like, from a sort of process perspective, I usually do the intro last.
Okay.
That's the last thing, not at the end of the track, obviously. I mean, like, last in the process. Because it is one of the hardest things to get right, for me anyway. Like, the chorus is the main focus for me. Once I have a banging chorus, then I'll work backwards from there, really, and like write some verses, and then and then the intro depends on the verse and the chord structure and stuff, whether you can start with the chorus chords or the verse chords, or however it works. But yeah, the intro is always the thing that comes right at the end. But it is probably one of the most important things. But I find you can't really do the intro without knowing what the rest of the track is going to sound like. Or I can't anyway, because it goes back to that thing of like, you want to paint the picture of what the
Sure.
track is going to be at the start, so you need to know what the track's going to be. But yeah, times have definitely changed, man. Like when I put my first couple of singles out, like they were kind of even like extended edits, or what would be considered an extended edit now. Like they started with like a kick drum and a vocal sample and, you know, a beat, and then that goes on for 16, 32 bars, and then the chorus will come in, or the verse or whatever. And so that's definitely changed since I first started doing this. Things have become a lot shorter, a lot more straight to the point. But I'm here for it, man. I'm happy to do whatever whatever feels good.
Okay, well, we're going to take you back now for track 2, and I'm going to ask you, please, to tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Yeah. This is a kind of stupid one as well. It was Angel by Shaggy. So like I was at primary school or something, and I had a crush on some girl, and I heard this song, and I just became obsessed with it, and I learnt all the lyrics. It was the time of cassette tapes, so I made my own cassette tape with Shaggy Angel on it about 50 times, or however many could fit, basically on repeat on this cassette tape,
That's effort.
I wanted to learn all the lyrics. Because my best mate had learned all the lyrics, and I was a bit jealous, so I was like, oh, I need to go home and do my research on this tune that everyone's listening to. So yeah, that was I don't know why it was that tune, but I just got obsessed with it. So yeah, but it was because of some girl, so there's the emotional attachment.
Love it, love it. So where was home? Where was this all happening?
So yeah, it was in. I'm from Norfolk originally. I went to a school in Reetham, which is just outside of Norwich, and yeah, that's where I grew up. I went to primary school and high school, both in Reetham. Lovely little. I think it's technically a village or a town, but really small, but really nice as well, man. Like, made some really good friends, and the school was great.
What about home? Was home musical?
Yeah, it kind of was actually. My parents weren't that musical, but my grandparents all were. So whenever I go around to see my granddad, he had an organ, and I always used to jump on, and he used to teach me how to play that. And then my other grandparents, they were also into keyboards as well, and like keyboard players, and they used to go to this, like, I can't remember what it was called. It was some like keyboard festival where they'd go and they'd just watch like all these old boys play, you know, nice tunes on the keyboard, and they used to take me along. So they're like the next generation were definitely definitely very musical. So I think I got that from them. And then me and both of my brothers, I've got an older and a younger brother. We basically wanted to be like Hanson. Like we all learned an instrument. Like I was the keyboard player, my older brother was guitar, and then my younger brother played the drums. So yeah, we that was our kind of goal, to be in a band, but it didn't work out because we just argued too much, as brothers do.
And so all of this was happening at home. These jams and stuff like that. But parents literally had a drum kit in the house.
Yeah, they. I think
That's
they
super
were.
supportive, man.
I know, it was lovely, man. Like I really do owe my parents a lot for encouraging me to get into music. I think they probably did it just to keep me out of trouble, because we came from a very, very small village, not Reetham. We were just outside, like basically just farmland and nothing else really. So there wasn't a lot to do, and we'd just go out and cause trouble. So they thought it'd be good to get us learning an instrument and give us something positive to focus on, and it really was great to do that. And I learned to play the keyboards, and then I just started getting obsessed with it, and they realized I was really into it, so they got me some lessons. And yeah, it was really nice, man. It was good of them to encourage us to do that.
Well, you mentioned learning there. Let's stay on learning, and that tenuous link brings us into track 3, which is the song that
Yeah.
reminds you of your time at school. Please, mate.
So yeah, this is throwback, Freestyler by Bomb Funk MCs. That was like the song that everyone had on their ringtones of their, you know, crappy old Nokia phones or whatever it was back then. That was my ringtone, and many of my friends. So like as soon as I hear that intro, it just fills me with nostalgia. And yeah, we're diving back into my to my past now. I had real fun making this list because it was like going back in time and listening to loads of stuff that I used to love. So yeah,
It's still a banger, that.
it is, man. Yeah, I think it's probably due a reboot, remix,
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Well, how was school? Was that something you enjoyed?
I hated school, to be honest. As probably most kids do. I was voted the class clown of my year in our yearbook. So it's basically my job was just to distract everyone and try and get a laugh. So I did have fun in that respect, but yeah, I really didn't like. I don't know, just didn't want to do it really. But it was good, man. I really can't complain. Like I had good friends. I was kind of friends with everyone. I didn't really have like a friend group as such. I just tried to get along with everyone, and I was kind of the funny guy. So it was, the bullies would leave me alone,
Yeah,
and I'd hang out with the nerds as well because they were good fun. And do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like everyone. Yeah, it was decent. But yeah, I didn't really enjoy homework and all that stuff. I didn't really understand what the point of education was until I went to university, because that was the first time that I really it was on, it was my idea to go to uni. And then it was like I felt like I was always being forced to go to school, as every kid I'm sure does. But
Mm.
then when it was my choice, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to smash it and prove everyone wrong. Because you know, teachers are mean, man, and they say horrible things when you're the class clown. So yeah.
Being the class clown and senior school and junior school, um, aside from not particularly, maybe being that interested in the academia side of things, what did you want to be?
I I don't really know. Like I in primary school, I didn't really have any idea. I think I wanted to be a tractor driver or a plumber or something like that, because that was kind of all I knew. And then I went to when I was in high school. I did start getting really into music at that point. So I joined a band, and we were playing like we were all obsessed with like Prince and Queen, Chili Peppers, like funk and rock kind of stuff. Um, and yeah, that was I think like when I sort of discovered my passion for music. Um, yeah.
And that's ambitious music. That's not like you're playing a Nirvana cover. You just mentioned Prince and the Chili's and stuff like that. That's complex music. So were you all quite accomplished players at this point?
Yeah, we're all like had been playing music since we were very young. Um, the front man singer in the band was he was actually born in London, and he was really into music. And then his mum moved him to Norfolk because she thought it would be a bit of a nicer place for him to grow up. And when I met him, we both had very similar music tastes. Like my parents were really into Queen, so I was like always around that kind of music and soaking it up. And when I met him, we both had that in common. And yeah, we both like I used to try and learn the Queen songs just by ear, and like they're so complicated. The chords and the structure of the songs, like they're really really intricate. So I think it was very good practice to have them as as like our idols
100%.
at the time.
100%. Well, let's stay in the formative years for one more track, and I'm going to ask you to tell me the first song that you remember buying from a record shop.
So I don't think I ever bought a single, but I the first album I bought was called "The Best Ibiza Anthems Ever." That came out in 1999, and I must have been like, I don't know, 12, 13 around the time. And yeah, that was kind of like my introduction to dance music. Like I'd been around dance music, but I'd never really like consumed it or had my own music to listen to. So I'd up until that point just heard my parents playing like Motorhead and Queen and stuff. And yeah, I discovered dance music through that album, and that album has just so many bangers on it. So yeah, that was like my bible of electronic music at the time.
Give me a snapshot as to a taste of what was on there.
Yeah, let me just Google this. I have the worst memory. Okay.
Can you remember where you bought it?
I can't remember. I'm sure it was just HMV
Yeah.
in Norwich. So Basement Jaxx, Red Alert, Faithless, God is a DJ, Stardust, Music Sounds Better with You. What else on there? Chemical Brothers, Hey Boy, Hey Girl.
Oh, that is all killer.
Fatboy Slim, Rockefeller Skank. Like that was my jam when I was a kid. I used to love that song. Dario G, Sunshine. These are some of my favorites. Fragma, Toka Me, all that good stuff. What else is on here? Sandstorm, I think, was on there. Like just you know that those big tunes.
But and obviously at that point you're by ear learning how to play Queen songs and working out chord changes that and Prince riffs, which are really fucking complex.
Yeah.
When you heard all of that electronic music, did the musician in you instantly try and deconstruct it and work out how it was put together? Was you already messing around with kind of I don't know what the program would have been at that point, but was you messing around with like sort of electronics and stuff?
I wasn't at this point, but until I heard that kind of music, that was the inspiration to kind of do it because, yeah, you're right. Like the sort of musician in me wanted to work out how these sounds were made and deconstruct them, like not in a musical way, but in a like production way. Like how are these guys making these sounds, and how do I replicate that? So it was definitely up until that point I hadn't touched a piece of music software. That was definitely some inspiration for me to get into it. But it took me a while. Like, I just loved listening to it, and then the first piece of software I downloaded was called Adobe Audition, and yeah, I started making tunes on that, bringing them into school and playing them to my mates. And there was it was a really funny moment actually when some kid in my younger brother's class, they all had this music homework basically to go home, write a piece of music, bring it in and perform it, and the teacher was going to record it and put it on a CD for everyone. And this kid took in a bongo drum, and sang this song called Halloween's Night Tonight from Michael Wright, it was called. And basically he played the song, and it was just like him, this little cute little kid on a bongo. And my brother gave me the CD, and I took his song and I remixed it. It was like the first thing I'd ever done, like made a dance tune. And I remixed it and brought it into school. And like within a week, this kid was a legend. Like everyone had this tune on their phone. Like it was everyone's ringtone. The guy was just like the most popular guy in school. He went from like basically somebody that no one really knew of to suddenly like, this guy, you're Michael Wright. Do you know what I mean? It was so cool. And I didn't really take any credit. I just sat back and was just like, wow, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. So I kept doing that, and I kept making music and bringing it in and showing my friends and stuff. And it was a really nice process.
Was you a confident kid?
Yeah, I was, I think on the outside, but probably not on the inside. I definitely think I acted up because I was just actually kind of just a shy, awkward kid and didn't really know how to socialize, so I just acted like an idiot. Yeah, and I'm still very much that way.
Well, let's move things forward a little bit for track 5. And can you tell me the song, please, that soundtracked your years clubbing?
Yeah, so I chose Kickstart by Example. This was a tune that was on every single time I went out. I used to go out in Norwich, and there was a club called Havana, I think it was. I used to go out with my mates, and this was the tune that everyone used to go mad for. And I ended up buying or finding his album somewhere, and yeah, I've just fell in love with that whole album. And there was like elements of like dubstep in there and house music, and it was all like in a pop kind of package, and that was something that I really sort of respected and liked. So yeah, I feel like that was a very poignant kind of song from my years of clubbing.
What were early sort of clubbing experiences about? What was it as straightforward as, you know, some alcopops and the local sort of city club and throwing yourself around with your mates, or was there a yearning for more exciting clubbing?
We didn't really know what else there was out there, to be honest. So it was just like a place to socialize, and there was like a group of us who would go out every Friday night or Thursday or whenever sort of student night was. Yeah, we just hang out, listen to music. We just used to dance like idiots as well. Like we literally would clear the dance floor. We'd have a competition of like who could basically act the fool. And yeah, it became quite a thing. And there was like a few of us that we used to bump into on a Thursday night, and like we'd see them across the room, and then we'd like have a dance off and just like be doing the weirdest dances you've ever seen. So it's basically just like a place to just mess around and have fun, and yeah, and the music was a big part of that as well. Probably I wasn't like that into sort of following music and discovering it at that time. I was just kind of soaking it all up, and I didn't even know what the DJ was doing. Like I hadn't really gone into the DJing side at this point, so I was just sort of like there to enjoy the music.
Did you like attention?
Yeah, I think so. If it was on my terms, if I was ever put on the spot and like, you know, do something funny or like play the keyboards in front of these, I would just go really shy and just be like, no, I can't do it. But
you're quite comfortable dicking around on the dance floor in front of like thousands of people.
Yeah, it was very weird. Yeah, very, very weird. And yeah, I still do it today. I do my silly dances when I'm DJing, just because, you know, it's good fun.
Of course it is. Aside from confidence, you've entered into an industry that's very, very difficult to reach the level of accomplishment and success that you've reached. So confidence aside, then tell me about drive.
Yeah, man. Just drive and persistence have definitely been a very important thing. And it is a lot of hard work, man. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it kind of does happen overnight when, you know, if you get lucky, you have a break, you meet the right person, whatever it is. Like, those opportunities don't happen a lot, but they do happen. But if you're not putting yourself in those situations and saying yes to things and preparing yourself for that moment, then it's pointless anyway. Like, there was years and years and years of making music, making zero money. Like, I was on the dole for a good couple of years when I finished university, because it was either that or give up music and move back to Norfolk. And I was like, I'm not giving up quite yet. So it was probably 3 or 4 years after leaving university that I was grinding and just making music every day and sending relentless emails to people and never getting replies, and just sort of like honing my craft and working out, trying to find a unique sound and all these things that basically just doing my homework really for when and if anything were to happen. And when it finally did, I was lucky enough to have had that time before where I was prepared to follow up on the success that I had with my first single, and I was able to make, you know, a second single. And yeah, man, like, so much work goes into it, and it's the same for every artist. Like, you know, there's loads of artists that you just think, oh, they've just, like, you know, appeared overnight and like, lucky them, but it's really not that way. Like, they've put in probably years of hard work to get to where they are and to stay there.
I know you didn't move back to Norwich, but we're going to take you back for this track. And tell me a favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
So this was quite difficult because I was Googling people from Norfolk, and it's really it's not a big list. I nearly went for Ed Sheeran because he's from Suffolk, which is like the neighbour of Norfolk, but I didn't want to cheat the game. So I went for I discovered that Roger Taylor from Queen was born in Norfolk.
Really?
Yeah, which is really cool. He's from Kings Lynn, which is pretty near Norwich, where I'm from. And so I went for Queen Under Pressure, which he was one of the co-writers on, and obviously a absolute anthem, and yeah, one of my all-time favorite songs as well.
It's incredible on every level, that song, and the fact that you've got not just the wonder that was Freddie Mercury's vocal, but just adding, if you could add more, cool. You throw David Bowie in the mix, and it's like, come on, and the crescendo of that record, when they're just literally spinning their voices around each other, it just absolutely incredible record. But I've got to be honest, Head and Shoulders, my favorite Queen track as well. I think it's a masterpiece.
Oh, really?
That record, yeah.
Oh, amazing, man.
I'm not a massive Queen obsessive, and needless to say, Queen do get brought up a lot on this podcast. I've done like 370 episodes now, and I think for the intros question, Bohemian Rhapsody is probably the most commonly chosen one.
I nearly chose it. I was like, I can't. It's just kind of an obvious
yeah, one. Absolutely.
I was like, I can't have too much Queen in there if I'm gonna have. I was like, I could have a Queen song for every answer on this questionnaire.
Love it. And he's from your hometown. That's amazing. He's from Kings Lynn. That's crazy. Yeah. I never knew that. Right. Last track. And this is when you get to be DJ tastemaker, or as the kids call it, influencer these days. A song that you think many people may not know that you want them to hear.
I've done a complete cop-out and just chosen my own song.
Why not? Do it.
I said Melody Sigala. My new single, it's not been out very long. It's only been out for how long now? 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So if people haven't heard it, I'd love for you to hear it. It's a song I'm really proud of, and I feel like it really sums up where I am musically right now. It's a feel good tune. Yeah, and it kind of marks the start of what's going to be a busy year for me. I've got loads and loads of new music coming out this year, and an album over the summer. So yeah, this song is the first of many this year. So I thought I would do a shameless plug and pop that in.
Wonderful. Well, we put together a Spotify playlist to accompany the podcast, so
Nice.
people can go and listen to all of the tracks that we've spoken about today. And Sigala, thank you so much for giving up your time today to talk records. And
Pleasure.
all the best for the single. Good luck with the album this year. And yeah, enjoy getting back out there and enjoying the fruits of the freedom that hopefully we're going to get to sustain in 2022.
100%, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, man.
Nice ones, dude. Take care, mate.